Big Brother is watching. A famous line from a George Orwell novel, 1984, which talked about living in a dystopian time where everything and everyone is being watched. While it shows an eerie side of surveillance, there is a side that is very important today for everybody's survival, and we'll talk more about that on the show. Plus, news for everyone who takes an Uber cab in India. While it talks about safety, there is a privacy concern around it, and we would love to hear what you think about it. Plus, one of the biggest flagship launches of 2025 perhaps. We have the OnePlus 15 with us in the studio. Does it really stand out? What are the compromises? A whole lot more we will discuss on this week's show. This is Cyrus and you are watching Tech Today, and let's kick things off with the top tech headlines of the week. Google has launched Gemini 3, calling it its most intelligent AI model ever with deep reasoning, insight and nuance. It's natively multimodal and able to process text, images and audio all at once. Google also said that a lighter version of Nano Banana Pro is coming soon for people who want powerful AI in a more compact package. Zoho's Made in India messaging app Aratai has rolled out end-to-end encryption for individual chats on Android, iOS and desktops. That means only the sender and receiver can read messages and not even Aratai can access them. The company says full group chat encryption is coming in the next few weeks. OpenAI has launched ChatGPT for Teachers, a special version made for K-12 educators. Teachers can now use a safe space where AI helps grade student work, manage files and collaborate, and all without students' data to train models. The platform is free for verified US teachers until June 2027. A Boston Dynamics robot called Spot is now being used by over 60 bomb squads and SWAT teams across North America. Weighing about like a German shepherd, it can climb stairs, map dangerous areas and send live video, all controlled remotely. Each unit costs around $100,000, which is roughly 90 lakh rupees in India. And iPhone users can now log on to 2 different WhatsApp accounts in the same app without needing a separate business app. But there is a catch. It's currently in beta and supports only 2 accounts. Each account keeps its own chat history, backups and notification settings, so your personal and work stuff stays separate. The events of 10th of November have indeed devastated the entire country. Not only has it left a physical mark on it, but it also has left an indelible emotional mark. Now, the perpetrators of this crime have been caught, but they've been caught using very advanced technologies, one of them being surveillance CCTV technology. Now, in the big tech story this week, we are trying to understand how surveillance and CCTVs in India really work. What is the ecosystem like, how advanced it is, and what is really happening behind the scenes. Because remember, we do have a robust infrastructure in terms of the tech, but does it need any upgradation? Does it need AI and machine learning to be embedded into the system? That is what we will try to figure out on this week's big tech story on the Tech Today show. Most of us pass these cameras every single day, on flyovers, at traffic signals, in housing societies and outside small shops. It's become such a normal part of city life that we barely register them. But these cameras form the backbone of how cities respond to crisis, manage crowds, direct traffic and even trace missing persons. Traffic teams depend on these live feeds to ease bottlenecks, call out reckless driving, and in many cases, cameras alert authorities to an incident even before a citizen manages to dial in. And back at home, smart cameras have slipped into our routines almost unnoticed, helping parents check in on their kids, families look out for elderly members, confirm deliveries, and even giving small businesses a simple way to monitor customer flow or keep track of inventory. No wonder India's video surveillance market is set to touch 4.8 billion US dollars in 2025. This isn't some sophisticated gadget anymore. It's part of the everyday ecosystem. So here's the thing with technology, you can never understand it intricately just by sitting at your desktop and maybe learning about it online. You have to head outside. So to understand what kind of cameras are deployed, maybe in the city or your households, we head to maybe an experiential center to understand what the hardware is really about. You have IP cameras for crisp, networked video, dome cameras that blend into indoor setups, bullet cameras that guard perimeters, and PTZ cameras that literally rotate, zoom, and track movement. Get this, we have shown you so many solutions, different types of cameras, and each of them serves a very different purpose. However, for this story, the cameras that I wanted to show you are these. Now, these are surveillance cameras which are mostly deployed in Delhi, around the city, and they use enhanced algorithms, enhanced AI to track people's faces, track vehicles, their different types, and even numbers. And this is where cameras like these, technologies like these are essential. However, in an array of cameras that we have shown you, what is important for you to understand what your requirement is and deploy the solutions accordingly, because most of these cameras serve different purposes, but what's the best for you, that you have to find out.
Okay, so market, we segment into 4 buckets: consumer and home segment, where you don't need such rugged cameras. It's normally made of ABS. And then you have the private sector, masses at large, shops, establishments, schools and all. You need a mix of both. Then you need really rugged metal body cameras. You need some non-breakable, which we call IK10 standard cameras, where you even put a hammer, it won't break. And then you go into the enterprises or manufacturing, you need explosion-proof cameras also, and similarly in government, you have thermal cameras where you capture thermal side of the body. You have video, night vision cameras. So we do all these buckets for different segments of the market.
Remember, CCTVs are of different types. They also need to undergo very rigorous testing and also certain benchmarks that they have to pass in order to be installed. But there was the hardware part. Now let's try to move into the software side of things, because remember, there are so many cameras out there that needs a little bit of upgradation, maybe in terms of the software, maybe in terms of what kind of AI or machine learning can be embedded into these cameras to make them a little more smarter. So for that, we spoke to another expert who gave us insights about how cameras can become smarter.
India already have more than 3 crore cameras being bought last year. So no one is going to change the hardware and perform all the analysis. So the main the motive behind the software was to basically utilize the existing camera to perform different kind of a security analysis. And when I say security analysis, it could be facial recognition in terms of the criminals or terrorists which we have the target, or maybe in terms of law enforcement, it could be a fake number plate vehicle which might be roaming across the city and which may do the crime. The third, of course, is very important use case is the attribute-based search. Let's say if I want to search for a particular vehicle or particular, let's say, person in terms of the textual query. Let's say I'm searching for a person who's wearing white shirt and blue jeans and black shoes. How I can perform that search across 10,000 cameras, which might be deployed across the city.
Instead of simply reacting, authorities can plan ahead. Instead of scrambling for clues, they're staying a step in front of them. Picture this: thousands of cameras streaming into a single dashboard, mapping live traffic, highlighting hotspots, marking accident-prone stretches, even predicting where crowds will build up next. This isn't sci-fi. It's already the reality inside command centers in Delhi, Hyderabad, Surat, and more. And while cities scale up their big systems, people are quietly building their own mini versions at home. Smart doorbells, motion pings, cloud backups, baby and pet monitoring, even two-way talk. A few years ago, these felt like luxury add-ons. Today, they're just standard features. For small businesses, the value goes even further. Footfall insights, heat maps, theft prevention, better staff planning. Smart surveillance has moved way beyond security. It's about making life smoother, smarter, and a whole lot more efficient. So the Red Fort incident is indeed a reminder of how important surveillance is for this country. And remember, it is evolving. We showed you so much of tech and how it is enhancing each and every day. And remember, it's just not part of the city or your neighborhood, is also a part of what's happening inside of your house. And that is exactly why you need to be aware of what's happening within the ecosystem, because it is an integral part of your lives as well. And as this entire tech evolves, understand that as users, you have to evolve with it. And hopefully, you'll be able to understand the nuances in a better way after following this segment. Now, when a passenger gets into an Uber or maybe even Ola, you're in a zone where you are not in control. The driver might have certain mischief planned, might misbehave. So many things could happen. However, there are even some passengers who misbehave and do not follow the rules. But again, it's tough to know who really is at fault without any kind of video evidence. So, on the show today, we talk about a technology that's trying to help solve this problem. Cab drivers in Australia, Hong Kong, Turkey and many other countries are required by law to install in-cabin camera systems to track the journey and catch any misdemeanors by the driver or passengers. This even helps law enforcement determine the culprit. However, in India, there is no such law. If any incident happens in the cabin, there is very little evidence to back a complaint. And installing a camera inside a car can cost the driver extra money. So, to tackle this, Uber has launched a new feature. The idea: let drivers record video of the interior of their vehicle using their smartphone's front camera. So how does this work exactly? Within the app, there is a feature that allows drivers to capture video using the front-facing camera. Riders receive an in-trip notification, so they know they are being recorded. After the ride is over, the recording stops. That's all. Now, this move comes amid growing concerns by drivers, especially in the Delhi NCR region, who have complained that they are being threatened by riders with false complaints and accusations. A report said that a female passenger traveling late at night insisted that the driver follow the route they wanted. If the driver refused, they threatened to file a false complaint. At the same time, there are serious incidents on record. For instance, in a very high-profile case, a Delhi Uber driver Shiv Kumar Yadav was convicted of rape, kidnapping and assault of a passenger. And more broadly, app-based cab and delivery services in Indian cities like Bengaluru have seen rising crime complaints. Sexual harassment, assault and verbal abuse are among them. So here's the question, what role could this new tool play?
वैसे तो फ़ायदा ही रहेगा इससे, क्योंकि जैसे ड्राइवर भी कस्टमर के साथ बोलते हैं कि मिसबिहेव कर देते हैं, या कस्टमर के साथ या कस्टमर ड्राइवर के साथ कर देते हैं, तो इससे मतलब ये है दोनों चीज़ क्लियर रहेगी, उसमें रिकॉर्ड होता रहेगा।
कैमरा ज़रूरी है, पूरी गाड़ी को अंदर से कवर करेगा, क्योंकि अंदर ऐसी घटना होती हैं उनको हम नहीं बता सकते।
मैम, इससे बहुत अच्छा असर पड़ेगा, क्योंकि जो भी हमारे अंदर गेस्ट क्लाइंट बैठेंगे उनको वो सेफ़ रहेगा, वो मतलब वो निडर होकर अपना वो मतलब कहीं भी जर्नी कर सकते हैं। वो
सही होगी वैसे, सेफ्टी वाले, जैसे कई बार ड्राइवर भी मर जाते हैं, कई बार ड्राइवरों को गला भी रेत दिया जाता है।
For drivers who feel vulnerable to false allegations, this offers a real backup. Instead of getting into a verbal spat, you now have proof. For Uber, it could reduce investigation time, making its safety review process more robust and deter bad behavior on both sides. And for riders, knowing that the trip is being recorded with a notification might discourage misbehavior as well. But here's the thing, not every rider and passenger would be comfortable being recorded because privacy concerns are also something that they need to consider.
It is a very good initiative, but at the same time, if my footage is getting leaked or maybe it is being misused, then it is a wrong initiative, because if it is for safety purposes, then it should be purely for safety purposes itself.
गर्ल्स हो गई, जैसे रात में कैब से आ रही हैं तो कोई ड्राइवर मिसबिहेव कर रहा है तो हम कंप्लेन कर सकते हैं.
So, can a passenger deny being recorded? And what happens to the footage? Firstly, yes, you can say no before the trip starts, as when the recording starts, the rider does get a notification. But once the trip has begun, they don't have an option inside the trip to turn off the video recording. That said, if they are uncomfortable, they could raise a complaint later using the recorded video or choose not to share it. To ensure the data doesn't get leaked, all recordings are double encrypted and stored locally on the driver's device. Uber cannot access them unless the driver or rider submits the video as part of a formal safety report. If the video isn't shared, it automatically gets deleted after 7 days. Still, question remains. What if a passenger feels pressured? Will someone be asked to cancel? Will Uber back their drivers consistently if a dispute arises? Some have expressed concern.
I have mixed opinions about it, but it is a good thing. So there are two sides to it. एक beneficial side हो जाएगा और एक disadvantage side हो जाएगा. Disadvantage side would be privacy and stuff like कि मतलब leak ना हो जाए. And advantage वाला side रहेगा कि safety होगी.
बट सवाल ये है कि मदद कैसे करेगा, ये ऑनलाइन रहेगा या मतलब जो चीज़ अगर इस गाड़ी में मतलब कुछ हो रहा है तो वो सारी दुनिया देखेगी या सिर्फ ड्राइवर ही देखेगा, कौन देखेगा, इसका ये कैसे चलेगा?
I think this is a great idea to protect both the drivers and riders from false accusations, but it's not without its trade-offs. You see, you have privacy consent and trust, and all of these things are on the line. The success of this depends on how the drivers and the riders respond to how Uber handles the shared footage. For now though, it's a good step in the making, and it also makes sure that you get a safe ride-hailing experience. So today we will be talking about OnePlus, specifically the OnePlus 15. Now OnePlus, as we all know, has been a brand in the Indian market that's gotten people flagship level features but haven't charged them as much. However, the concerning bit for OnePlus is that their shipments in India have been dipping over the past couple of years. Take a look at this chart. This is the IDC data, the recent one, and in Q3 they really haven't been doing that good, and which is becoming concerning for OnePlus as a brand. However, it's still saying that we can give you the best, and a lot is riding on this phone, the OnePlus 15. So can things really change for this brand in India? Let's try to find out in this review of the new OnePlus 15. Alright, let's start with the display. Now OnePlus has been known for its displays. Even in the previous iteration with the 13, they had a fantastic 2K display, LTPO, AMOLED. Nothing was wrong with it, but OnePlus says that we're going to up that game a little with a 165Hz refresh rate screen. Now I know people might say that this seems overkill. Who uses 165Hz? However, I don't think people would mind having a very smooth experience when they are scrolling content, which is evidently available on the OnePlus 15. Yes, I know the downgrade is that you are now getting a 1.5K screen instead of a 2K, but that doesn't kill my experience, and I don't mind that. Because again, this is a really bright screen, it's LTPO, it's got bright colors, the touch response feels great, and of course, the 120Hz default that you get is good. The only thing is the 165Hz will only be used for a couple of games, and that's about it. And what really matters to buyers is what you're getting. That's consistency, because this display feels good every time you see it. There are no color shifts, there are no issues. So overall, I think even if it is a 1.5K display, it's still a very good display. Talking about the design, I know OnePlus hasn't really gone extravagant with its overall design philosophy, but I still like what they're offering. It's minimalist, it's got everything that you need, and it's very lightweight too. Because the story isn't about the looks, it's about durability. Because this is a new scratch resistant display. I kept it in my pocket with coins and keys and it didn't pick up any scratches, which means that the glass back is really good. So I am totally saying that OnePlus has created one of the most rugged smartphones in the market. Again, it has everything that you would need because the design is good, it's got a glass back, the buttons are all there. However, one little thing that I would have loved is the alert slider, which is gone and has been replaced by this plus key. It is customizable just like what we get on the iPhone, but I've hardly been using it. Now coming to the performance, this is the best that you get in the market because this one is running on a Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 chipset, which we have even tested in terms of benchmarks against the iPhone 17 Pro Max, and this one did better. Check out these benchmarks. And the phone is genuinely super fast in day-to-day use. Apps open instantly, animations are clean. Oxygen OS 16 is doing a lot behind the scenes with AI and with RAM management and background optimizations. This phone takes everything to just a whole new level. So you're getting an optimized phone with performance and a clean UI. It's really a banger. And the part that's interesting is that OnePlus is also pushing the gaming narrative on this phone because it's offering higher sustained performance, better touch latency, and fancy graphics even at the launch event. But honestly, how many people in India would actually care about the gaming prowess of the OnePlus 15? Because this brand started out by saying that we will give you flagship features, everything bundled into one smartphone, but they never went after a target market. But this time they're saying, gamers, we have a phone for you. But how many gamers are there in India? So to sum it up, it's crazy fast, it's loaded to the brim with the best of software and hardware. And I think if you want performance on your phone, the OnePlus 15 is right up there. Alright, moving to the cameras, I will confess and say that the experience hasn't been that good. The Hasselblad branding is gone. And well, OnePlus was never known for its cameras. But even this time when they had the opportunity to improve without Hasselblad's engineering, they really haven't done a lot. Because when I use this camera, the photos are fine, not bad, but again, not amazing. The dynamic range is okay. Colors can be a bit inconsistent and low light shots are a little soft. And I am not alone. A lot of reviewers are saying the same thing. Cameras is not really the strongest suit on the OnePlus 15. And if you are okay with that, then only go. But I will not be the judge of it all. You can have a look at these samples and maybe take a smarter decision. Now, when it comes to the battery, this indeed is a behemoth. 7300 mAh on a phone this slim, and also it gets topped up with 120 watt fast charging, which means you can charge your phone from 0 to 100 in just 53 minutes, which is fantastic. And I was able to get around 2 days of battery backup on medium and regular usage, your WhatsApp, your Instagram and emails, and that is fantastic, especially for people who are always on the go and want a phone that can sustain charge for a longer time. So again, no drama, no overheating, no throttling. This is indeed one of the best battery phones that you can get in the market. The good part is you also get the charger bundled in the box. So comprehensively, a good battery phone is what you're getting with the OnePlus 15. So here's where things get a little interesting. OnePlus has priced the OnePlus 15 in India at 72,999 for the base variant, which is higher than what they launched the OnePlus 13 for. Now this becomes a little puzzling because in terms of hardware, they have hit the nail. Everything on this phone, except yes, the camera could have been better, is spot on. And if you want a comprehensive flagship with all of the additions and a future-proof device, the OnePlus 15 is indeed a good phone, and I will definitely recommend if you're looking for a flagship under 75,000 rupees. That's it for this week's show. Now, before going, I want to remind everyone to reach out to us with your tech queries and suggestions for the show. Next week, we're going to talk about how smartphone cameras are getting redefined with some very cool accessories, and that may just change the DSLR industry. Until next time, this is Cyrus signing off on Tech Today. Take care.